And we're live in 3, 2, 1.
And welcome to the LAAGCast for the week of April 16th, 2018. I am one of your hosts, Max Williams, and with me, as always, are Will Henry.
Hey.
And Sam Richards.
What's up?
Will, I hear you got a doozy of a stupid thing of the week for us.
Oh, yeah. So, I was just browsing through the news, and I had not heard of this previously. But apparently, a bunch of, I assume, social justice warriors, because they were trying to get social justice of some sort, decided to band together to police online games by beating up the other players who were rude to them.
Like, going and driving to their houses, finding them by tracking them down.
No. Just going and playing the games better than them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Would it, warp them into the game as, an extra powerful dude to, beat up on some bulliers?
It's Dark Souls, Blue Sentinels.
If you're being harassed, you can reach out to one of these people to come and play with you in order to protect you.
So they were offering themselves out as bodyguards.
Essentially, to verbally harass verbal harassers.
Oh, verbally harass. They would come out and, get into the crap talking? You're not just talking about outplaying them.
I mean, I assume that they were just sitting there going, and you should not speak like that. Don't say those words.
That's way worse than I was thinking. Yeah, I was thinking, you go in and they basically just kill you over and over.
But the thing is,
you for a little while.
These are just normal players then at that point. They're just another set of players and they don't matter.
Yeah, it's like, going and calling a friend to come over and help you out.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Because this isn't the stupid part.
This is not stupid part. So, after one live stream that went horribly awful, the bully hunters are no longer a thing.
Yep.
They've been officially dismantled.
Disowned by every company that was
everybody.
throwing their support behind them.
Yes.
Well, dang.
It turns out these people who care so much about verbal harassment aren't very kind people after all.
Now, not only that, but isn't it true that all of this was actually just a ploy for them to sell their branded headphones?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
It's always a ploy.
Yeah, they immediately came up with this advertisement that was like, here's these headphones that have bully hunters on the side. They buy them to support, the bully hunters.
Yep.
And not only that, but on their live stream, I believe they had a demonstration of this actually happening that they said was in real time at the time. God. And did you hear about this part?
I did not.
And they had a player who was I don't know what game it was, but they were experiencing some harassment, and so they called the bully hunters, and the bully hunter came in and did whatever they do, and using the many easy tools that are available to see what screen names are being used by what people in a game, they found out that the bully hunter who came in to save the bullied player were both the same person.
What?
Yeah. They went to the list of usernames used by this person in whatever program the game was on, and it was just on the pull-down menu.
How does this always happen? Every time. They're always harassing themselves. How?
They have to create the monster, because the monster as they need it to be in order to push the agenda just doesn't exist.
It's amazing considering the things you hear when you jump into an online game that they would need to create the controversy.
But when it comes down to it, isn't most of the bullying coming from 10-year-olds?
Yeah. But, the 8-year-old kid is so rude, and he swears oh my God.
Yeah, they have no filter.
Yeah, no filter, exactly.
All right.
So yeah, pretty dumb news.
Yeah, well, fill me in on some good news.
All right, some good news.
Good gaming news.
Well, it depends on what you consider good, because gigantic mass company that is going to overtake all online video games, Epic Games, is set to bring in $500 million by the end of 2018 from Fortnite Mobile, which they just launched.
Just mobile.
Just mobile.
Wow.
Right?
Is this a free-to-play?
It is a free-to-play.
So it's just ad-based revenue?
I have no idea.
Because there isn't stuff you can buy in Fortnite.
There is actually stuff you can buy in Fortnite. You buy different outfits and stuff like that doesn't actually influence the game.
Cosmetics.
It's all cosmetics.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right, well.
So yeah, and I decided to just do a quick roundup of all of this Battle Royale news. Because every game, every game, Battlefield 5, Black Ops 4, on and on, they're all going to have Battle Royale now. So you just pick your shooter, it has a Battle Royale mode. This is just a thing now.
A new video game trend.
Yes.
I'm honestly surprised that it took this long for
Right?
this trend to show up and explode like this, because this is all we've ever wanted, isn't it?
It is. It's true.
Yeah.
It's great. And it's so easy for it just to be another mode. And this will also lead to more 50 versus 50 games.
Because, like, look at the success of MMOs, and then you look at this, and with these sorts of games, there isn't some sort of, like, crazy ceiling that happens if you happen to miss getting on board with the game in the first couple of months, and, all of a sudden everybody is farther than you, and the only way you can sell new copies of World of Warcraft is if you automatically advance people to level 100 or whatever they do now, like, right when they start.
They sell a lot.
So with these, like, when all the characters have to start on the same floor, it's easier for a larger audience to get into. That said, it might be easier for a large audience to drop.
That's also true. And if every game is doing it, it's just going to turn out that any game specializing in it is probably going to die off, except for Fortnite, because it has its specialization in the walls.
Right.
And all of these other FPS players are just going to bring their players back from PUBG and continue on with their lifespans.
Right, because PUBG doesn't have any kind of interesting setting or anything compelling about it other than the gameplay and the battle royale-ness of it.
Yeah. Well, they're adding some caves.
I heard that. Yeah. Tell us about some caves.
Well, apparently on the new small map, they want to add a cave system that you can parachute directly into.
How does that even work?
Apparently there's going to be like 3 entrances that you can, throughout the map, that you can just go directly down into at the beginning if you want to.
Death funnels.
When you put it that way, it sounds a lot more fun, actually. Now I kind of want the death funnels.
Yeah.
Hashtag death funnel?
Yeah. Hashtag death funnels.
Oh,
So I need to add a mode that has a blood dome.
Oh my god. So many ideas that they need to embrace.
Yeah. Well, what else?
Well, so For Honor is releasing a new training mode 1 year after its initial release. And so I've actually read up a bit on For Honor since its release. And apparently Ubisoft have been really trying to get this game, up to par.
Okay.
They've patched it like crazy. And apparently it's a lot better, and you can get it for just $15 these days. Or at least the base game to, get started. They decided to make a $15 starter set. And I'm thinking I might actually get For Honor now, because it sounds like they've been working hard, and the gameplay does look fun.
I never found the gameplay to look that compelling. It looked like it was giving you too much control, but not enough control. Like, you aren't just free aiming where your sword goes, but you have to constantly select one, of 3 different quadrants that you're defending or whatever.
That's true.
So, let me know how that is.
Yeah, no problem. Dark Souls Dark Souls Remastered on the Switch has been delayed until summer 2018.
What they doing?
They couldn't get it ready on time. I don't remember what the who's doing the Switch version, but I guess they just couldn't make it work that fast.
I wonder if some of the more frame intensive areas that used to give it trouble.
Oh no, Blighttown on the Switch.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, they couldn't get Blighttown right, so they're taking a little more time. In which case, it's welcome.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's not like it's end of the year.
And I'm just gonna get it on PC anyway.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Platinum, of course, the developer of that series you like, Sam. What's the series that it is? Persona. That's the one.
It's Atlas.
That's Atlas? Damn it. What does Platinum make?
You're asking the wrong guys.
I'm asking the wrong guys.
Google what Platinum makes if you care, audience. Will, go on.
Okay, well, Platinum, who makes good games, they're a Japanese developer.
You assume.
I know that. I know that for sure.
Okay. But you can't think of one.
I just cannot think of their games right now. Well, anyway, they're making a new game called World of Demons, which is supposedly going to be Okami with samurai swordplay.
Yeah.
That sold the game for me. Like, if that's what it turns out to be, I want that game.
God damn, I wish it was Atlas, though, since I know all those demons.
Oh, man, I guarantee you, Platinum makes, like, real beat-em-up games.
Not most of these demons are all based on actual, like, Japanese myths, So
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if you'll still know many of the demons.
That is true.
Yeah. And, yeah. I think that about does it for video game news.
All right. Well, I think we all played the same game this time.
Well, I think we did all play the same game. But did anyone play anything else before we get into those details?
I mean, I played maybe another hour of GTA 5 after the last time we recorded, before I decided it was getting monotonous. And I left it installed, so I may go back to it. But I did launch into the other game. What about you, Sam?
I played a few hours, got a few hours into LA Noire.
LA Noire.
Yes.
Again, I've always wanted to play.
I was a little disappointed. I think I was expecting too much from it, not realizing that it was a Rockstar game and going to follow Rockstar formatting. But, in a Rockstar game, I want to be the, go insane, kill everything, have fun.
You don't want to be a lawman.
Yeah, and this time you're a lawman. But the faces are crazy. They're just weird.
Are you good at doing the face things? Like, are you? Because I tried to play that game and it was I felt like I was always guessing. I was never guessing right.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can not off the faces. Everybody just blinks way too much. It makes them all look guilty. Just the clues, I'm able to figure it out through but you would know about this other bit of clue. You'd know about these glasses, so I don't believe what you're saying. And but, it's okay. But I don't know how much more I'm gonna play of it.
Yeah. What about you, Will?
I didn't play anything but the big game itself.
All right. So, what'd you play, Will?
Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, me too. How many hours did you get in?
Okay, well, I got 24 hours, but I know that at least 4 or 5 of those are idling and pause. So,
and it's definitely still count. Oh yeah, Steam does.
And also the game timer keeps going when you're in the pause. I've noticed.
Okay, I'm at about 22.
Okay,
and none of it is wasted.
All right.
What about you, Sam?
Me, I think I'm probably around 15.
Okay, hey, you've been rock and rolling. So you started a little later.
Right, and I've only been playing for 3 days.
Well, you have played it before, of course, and we talked about it on some earlier episodes, I believe.
Yeah, and knowing stuff about the game allows you to rock it through early stuff that takes many hours.
Right. First impressions, Will?
I think it's a really fun game. I've been enjoying myself. It's the road trip game. It really is, and man, I don't like slow games, and it's kind of a slow game, and I like road tripping. It's a lot of fun.
I fast travel just about as often as possible. Despite some weird problems that are really more like inconveniences, real nitpicky stuff. It's very enjoyable. I'm having a very good time.
It's very Japanese. That's the nitpicky stuff, is that only a Japanese developer would insist on having this in the game.
Well, having interact and pick up items and jump all be the same button is madness.
You jump every time you want to pick something up. Every time.
It is chaos. And the movement is sort of loosey-goosey. It's not real tight, actually driving Noctis around on foot. That said, it is very satisfying to do, despite being loosey-goosey.
I like to find, 2 people walking close to each other and go right between them and watch him dance between them, because it's so casual. He doesn't lose any time, and it's wow, that's incredible.
People move to the side and stuff.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff in the car sequences is pretty entertaining. The other day, Ignis was driving, and it looked very much from the other characters' reactions like he must have cut a fart, because everyone else started making waving their hand in front of their face, and Prompto was pointing his thumb at the driver who isn't reacting at all. And the other fun thing I like to do, though, is whenever you're driving with the top down, occasionally Noctis or Prompto will sit up on the back of their seat in the car or something. Every time they do that, I love to slam on the brakes. Prompto gets mad.
That's hilarious. I never thought of doing that.
Yeah, that's real good.
Yeah. I don't know. Trolling Prompto is kind of my fun side project. I've completely ignored every one of his requests to do anything every time.
Including all the photo ops?
Including all the photo ops.
Wow.
Well, do the photo ops give you a ton of experience?
No.
Okay, well, it's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
The whole photos thing is really only for amusement. There's nothing really you get out of it.
Do you go through and save up shots from the photos that it gives you when you sleep?
I do, but oftentimes there are no photos that I like. I'm very, very picky about the photos I save.
Me too.
Yeah.
I save 1 to 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
But when driving around, my favorite thing is listening to the music.
Yeah,
I've collected almost all of the Final Fantasy tracks, if not all. I think I might be missing like one, but I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I've just been listening to all of the Final Fantasy music that they have in the game as I drive around from quest to quest, which I very much enjoy.
The game kind of cheats on its score by doing that, because if you get to use all of the great music from the history of the series in conjunction. Now, one miss on that, in my opinion, is you can buy an MP3 player that allows you to listen to the radio even when you're out in the field. But it still fades out the music you're listening to if you go into a battle.
Yeah, that's true.
That's one of those things.
Right, I really wish it would give you the option to, even if it was an option in the options, to go and switch it so that the radio would stay like with priority. Because it'd be really cool to be doing the battle musics from the other Final Fantasies during these fights.
What if it limited itself to the battle musics on
When you went into a battle?
That'd be beautiful.
Yeah.
A random fight music from one of the previous games.
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be incredible.
Well, they're still updating the game all the time.
Yeah, we should at them.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, and even though the gameplay is kind of, as you say, loosey-goosey, like the movement and all, I very much enjoyed the hecticness of the combat, and it took a little while for me to get used to it, but once I got used to it, it was just, it's easy. Sometimes I just hold one button the whole time and I'm satisfied.
Yeah, but I feel like you can get continuously better at the battle system, as I feel I have as I've played more and more. Like I keep getting better. I get awesome at it.
Right.
I couldn't dodge the way I can now when I first started, but now I dodge incredibly well. And sometimes I'm hitting it right as the swipe comes in or whatever, and I'm so impressed that I even did that just because it's muscle memory at this point.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get that muscle memory because the blocking and parrying that way is like antithesis to how I'm used to blocking and parrying nowadays in video games. So I feel like it was kind of a steep learning curve. Like it was easy to learn how to battle because it is super simple.
Yes.
But it is complex to master because there are a lot of options for what you can do, despite it seeming like there's only a couple options of what you can do.
No.
I think it's very interesting that, to me, this game is the Final Fantasy that's been the most influenced by Kingdom Hearts. I can't think of a more similar battle system.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Okay, at all.
Like loose, not even really controlling your allies, like even less control than in Kingdom Hearts. And just having your one guy flying around doing sword actions and managing stamina.
Yeah. I think that they implemented it into the Final Fantasy world very well.
Yeah,
it
works.
It really feels like a Final Fantasy, even though it doesn't play like a Final Fantasy.
And even though the controls are loose, I kind of wish there was a little more platforming, weirdly.
I know what you mean, but I think that you'd want it to be a little tighter and a little platformer.
Yeah, now that I said that, I'm remembering the ice cave, and never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That game was awful.
Any other notes about Final Fantasy? We may want to not bring it all up because I got to be honest, I might not play anything else before we record again.
I'm going to continue to play, but I think I'll also try and get some other games in. But overall, I'm really enjoying the game. I think that we've played it very differently, though, which is that you've done a lot more story missions than I have, even if you haven't mainlined them. But I just super leveled myself by doing side quests and then going and getting double the experience by sleeping at the hotel.
What level are you at now?
I'm level 45.
Oh, okay, because I'm level 40.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah.
So if I'm a little behind you technically, I'm feeling very powerful, and it's really fun to run around this game with superpower, especially when you build some strong magics and just
magic.
Destroying enemies in your path.
Yeah, I really hate that they make spells way not spammable. Like, it's cool that they're really strong and that you can, be putting quad casts and stuff on your spells so that you're really getting 4 casts for your 1 cast.
Yeah.
But, I kind of wish. I mean, I think that you can unlock having the spell cooldown be faster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but you still want it to be something that you can fire quickly.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to get a whole group of enemies together and then get away long enough to use one of those magic grenades. It would be nice if maybe there was a locked-on single enemy spells, and then you just make those grenades for like all spells.
It's really annoying when you miss with magic.
Oh my god.
Now you have to wait 30 seconds before you can use it again.
It's always against the big guys that you miss, and it's so regrettable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to continue to play.
Me too.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Well,
So-
we're going to take a quick break, I think.
Yeah, I think a break sounds good.
All right, we'll be right back, folks. And welcome back to the LAAGCast. We are going to now talk about some TV and movie news. Sam, what do we got here?
Well, it seems that
Colin Trevorrow.
yes, Colin Trevorrow, director of Jurassic World, says Jurassic World 3 will be more like the original, meaning that it will be a science thriller.
Isn't Jurassic World 2 isn't even out yet?
Correct, and he's
Yeah.
already talking about 3.
Well, I don't think he did 2 because he had been attached to do Star Wars Episode 9, I think, for a little while.
Okay.
And now that he's not doing that is why he signed back on to the Jurassic franchise. Because, I mean, Jurassic World made like a weirdly large amount of money.
It's true.
So like, I can see why they would want him back, especially if this one's kind of tracking lower, which it seems to be.
Right, makes sense.
It's not looking good, I feel like. People don't talk about it.
I think Jurassic World got a lot of its viewership from Guardians of the Galaxy viewership. They saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and wanted some more Chris Pratt, so they went and saw Jurassic World.
That's definitely true.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
He is a super bankable movie star right now.
Yeah.
Incredibly.
In other news, Rick and Morty made a cameo appearance in My Little Pony.
I saw that.
Isn't that kind of inappropriate?
Well, I mean, I haven't watched any My Little Pony, but I heard they throw stuff in for the adults because they understand their fan base.
That's fair.
There's a large adult fan base for My Little Pony.
It's
It
strange.
exists. It's out there.
Yeah, I mean,
brownies.
yeah, exactly. It's a totally normal thing. Don't
Okay.
even worry about it.
Yeah.
Alright then.
You want to take the next one, Will?
Yeah, sure. The comic series Deadly Class will be adapted to television for Sci-Fi with the directors of Infinity War, Joe and Anthony Russo. Max, do you know anything about this comic?
I read, I want to say, maybe the first 6 issues of Deadly Class.
All right.
Is this Rick Remender? I can't recall who the creator was. But it's fine.
It's fine.
It's
just
fine. It's like Harry Potter, except assassins instead of wizards.
It's Assassin's School.
Deadly Class.
Yeah.
I get it. Ha ha ha.
It's fine. Like it might be one of those ones that ends up better on TV than it was as a book. Since, but you know, it does have a lot of fans. It's been running for a while. I don't want to crap on it too much. I haven't read all of it. It just didn't hold my interest.
That's fair.
All right. Well then, also, Netflix is officially larger than Warner Brothers, Fox, and Sony.
I believe it.
It's amazing. They're
Yeah.
so huge.
This is like financially, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean everybody pays Netflix every month.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Even a bunch of people who don't even use it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oof.
So, well, that's big.
Yeah. What else do you got, Max?
Well, big news this week for some comic and movie fans. Ready Player One director Steven Spielberg has officially signed on to do his first comic book movie, which is Blackhawk, a classic DC Comics character. He's a World War II pilot with no powers or anything. It's just probably going to be a World War II movie.
All right.
Yeah. So there's that. We'll see how that goes. Obviously, it's just announced, so shoot, it may not even ever come out. Like that Martin Scorsese Joker movie that they keep saying we're going to get.
Right. That's pretty interesting.
But in more interesting news to me personally, 2 Jonathan Hickman comics have been optioned by Amazon to be developed into TV shows. Transhuman, an earlier 4-issue miniseries he did that is fine.
All right.
And East of West, which, as you two know, is basically my favorite comic of the last 5 years or however long it's been coming out.
You've mentioned that before.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful and very well suited, I think, to the modern television climate with stuff like Westworld, because it's very creepy, apocalyptic, end of the world, evil cults, alternate modern history stuff. There's so much great about East and West.
The TV and movie industry is really just eating the comics industry whole. It's like, give us all you can. We want it all.
That's the only place where original ideas are ever being developed these days. But that's it for news.
All right. Well, did we watch anything this week? Yes, we did.
We did, Will.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did we watch, Will?
We watched Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah, what was that, episode 4 or 5?
I think it was 5.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. I don't know if it was quite as good as the last episode to me, but it was like this one and the last one are the best two of the season for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah, no, it's on the upswing.
I enjoyed it. I liked Pablo's little side story. I thought it was really good.
I feel like it was a very Pablo heavy episode.
All the Pablo and Kelly and Brandy stuff was the better part of the episode, because the other half was just a classic episode of Evil Dead type thing with just Ash getting wacky in a one-on-one fight in an enclosed space.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's definitely true.
A really disgusting fight.
Yeah,
really
disgusting fight.
Well, they need to get it in there somewhere.
I know.
Yeah.
Pushing it, man. Pushing it every time.
At least they gave us the laughing deer head on the wall.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great callback.
I'm just really concerned that Ash left his saw at Ruby's house.
Yeah, that is
in the
concerning.
attic. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be really bad.
Yeah.
He does not plan ahead ever.
No. But yeah, like half light, half dark wizard Brujo Pablo, like just make him the main character.
I know. Pablo's been fantastic since the beginning of the show, and he's honestly a big piece of what carries it forward.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of places to go, I think, with him after the last couple of seasons, so I'm really impressed with them taking it in a very interesting direction.
Right, kind of where they hinted in the first season, but then they didn't take it anywhere. And you kind of have to they gotta give him a lot, because there's not much for Ash in development.
Right.
I mean,
right.
It makes sense that the person helping the hero would be the one to become the Brujo Especial.
Brujo Especial.
Right. What do they call Ash? The Jefe.
Yeah, the Jefe.
Yes.
Yeah.
All these crazy, you got the knights who are like a religious order dedicated to it. You've got the Brujos. Everybody knows that Ash is the Messiah.
Yeah.
This dude is our warrior against the evil man.
The old white guy.
You guys watch anything else? Unless was there something else about Evil Dead?
Yeah. Nothing else.
Still chugging along.
We did watch another show.
Yeah. We watched some of this show, Altered Carbon.
On Netflix.
That's the title, Altered Carbon, from Netflix.
How do you like Altered Carbon?
So yeah, it's all right. It's watchable, and it's got an interesting plot overall, but it's totally Netflixed so hard.
Yeah.
Oh man.
The drama is so thick you could cut it with a knife, and that kind of gets in the way of this kind of actually cool sci-fi universe they've made, where people don't have to worry about, dying because they have uploaded their brains onto discs that they keep inside their bodies.
Inside their sleeves.
Right, they call bodies sleeves because your disc can be taken out of one body and put in another body, and you exist in that body.
Is the disc called a stack?
Yes.
And the disc is called a stack.
Yeah.
Rich people have been using this technology in order to make themselves immortal, in order to make themselves richer, and the poor poorer, and it's created the great dystopia.
Did you ever watch the Justin Timberlake sci-fi classic In Time? Because it's a very similar plot.
That's funny.
Yeah. I haven't seen that, but Justin Timberlake, you say? I am interested.
Yeah, no.
Look. I think Justin Timberlake is a great actor in a lot of roles. It ain't a great movie.
All right, that's fair.
But that said, if it's ever on, you got nothing else to watch, it might be worth throwing on in the background while you're playing a video game.
That's fair.
Yeah. But
yeah, so overall, Altered Carbon, I think we'll probably make it to the end of the season at the very least without giving up. But
right, if we keep trying.
The problem I have is that I can never remember what happened. Every time we start a new episode, it's like watching a brand new show until 20 minutes in when it's like it all clicks again.
Right, and it's like, oh, okay, we're getting back to the plot after all that other stuff that was just kind of like too long.
Sounds like a Netflix show.
It's so Netflix.
God.
Yeah. Well, how about you?
Well, I'll tell you what isn't a Netflix show, and that's Legion. Guys,
all right. Still watching Legion.
I think last time I had watched the first episode.
Yes.
Well, now I've watched 7 out of 8 episodes of
right.
Legion. It is the best. It is just fantastic. And, I mean, we're a spoiler cast. I'm going to say a couple of things.
Yeah, go for it.
At the end of episode 6, or no, I'm sorry, at the end of episode 5, at the end of one of the most recent episodes, everybody's in a room at Legion's house.
Yeah.
And a guy busts in with a machine gun and unloads some bullets, and the girl, Sydney Barrett, because the creator is super into Pink Floyd apparently, and wanted watching the show to feel like listening to a Pink Floyd album in his own words, jumps onto Legion and says, "Take us to the White Room." And the entire next episode takes place in the psychiatric hospital inside of Legion's mind, with the villain being the overlord, the head psychiatrist of the institute, keeping everybody in prison, and occasionally they'll flash back to the room that everybody's in, and the bullets are edging even closer, and they have to do something before the bullets get all the way in there, and the walls are bleeding, and rooms are not the rooms that they're supposed to be when you walk in, and we're seeing stuff repeated from the first episode, but the actors are changed over so that different actors are giving the lines that were being given in the first episode.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It is just trippy in all of the best ways.
Mm-hmm.
There was this great sequence that showed Legion's origin in episode 7, and they did it all in an animated chalkboard sequence where he was drawing various impressions of what he thought his origin was on all these chalkboards, and then it would become animated. And we got a great little chalkboard animation of Professor Xavier and the monstrous Shadow King doing telekinetic battle on the astral plane.
Well, this is sounding better and better.
Yeah,
And
it sounds incredible.
It's visually super interesting. Like, it's almost like a really dark version of a Wes Anderson type of thing. Or sort of like a Wes Anderson meeting Kubrick somewhere in the middle, what with all the Pink Floyd-y influences.
Wow.
There was a black and white sequence, and the dialogue was those black and white title cards that come up on, old black and white movies before they had sound. And, yeah, it's just... superlative. It's one of my absolute favorite comic adaptations of anything. And one last thing, because I know I'm going on too long about this, but normally I don't like it when they do adaptations of comic things and they make up a bunch of new characters when they don't need to.
Yeah.
Because, like, for the X-Men universe has so many characters that there's always got to be some mutant that would fit in with the thing you're trying to do.
Right.
That said, other than Legion himself and the villain, the Shadow King, every single character in this is made up wholesale for the show, including their mutants, and I like them. Like, they are cool. I want them to go into the comics.
That's cool.
There's this mutant named Carrie Loudermilk, who is old man, this old white guy. His power is that his twin, a young Native American girl, lives inside his body and can come out, and she has super strength, and she can do the fighting. While he's like more of a science guy. And yeah, it's just super weird like that.
Wow.
The main girl character, Sydney Barrett, Sid Barrett, she's kind of like Rogue, but her power is that if you make skin-to-skin contact with her, you switch bodies with her. And it lasts for, I think, 2 to 24 hours, and then you just switch back.
Wow.
And
Cool.
yeah, so a lot of very interesting, weird things going on. It's going for, the maximum trip out possible, and I could not enjoy it more.
Yeah, no, this sounds like a really enjoyable show to watch. And you say it's only 8 episodes right now?
Yeah, only one more until the end of this season. And that said, the new season is currently running. I want to say it's 3 or 4 episodes in.
Okay.
And I may fork out the money to buy them from iTunes and just watch them now rather than waiting, because I am so into it.
8 episodes ain't bad. Me and Sam might be able to, catch up.
There's no waste. Like, there is no filler. This is the opposite of a Netflix show. Like, you cannot put it on in the background and play a video game. You have to watch it.
That sounds so much better.
Yeah, it's wonderful. My highest recommendation, 10 out of 10.
A lot of Netflix shows feel like background shows because I think that they may have been intended to be that.
This even makes me want to now go watch Fargo, which I always heard was very good, the Fargo TV show. I believe our dad was watching it.
I watched a few episodes.
It's the same showrunner, Noah Hawley, who did Fargo, is on Legion. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I watched 3 or 4 episodes of Fargo. It was actually, it was reasonable, but I couldn't get by the accents at the time. I gave up, and I might go back someday.
Yeah, if you can't handle the accents, then Fargo is not for you as a franchise.
Exactly.
All right, well, why don't you crack open the list, and let's rank some characters.
All right. Well, the list is now cracked open. Let's rank some characters.
All right, so we're going to throw in a little bit of a twist this week for you guys. We're going to be ranking 3 characters played by the amazing Jeffrey Combs, star of The Reanimator.
Yes.
And the first we'd like to rank is Liquidator Brunt.
Great
Brunt.
character, Liquidator Brunt.
Really great character.
One of the many parts of Quark's amazing supporting cast.
Right. Quark's supporting cast. Brunt. FCA.
Oh, man. I feel like these characters are going to be particularly hard to place.
It's true, because how do you rank the importance of a character like Brunt versus a character who shows up a lot? That said, that is what we are here to do.
Indeed.
So, how about we start with...
Real low, number 18, Neelix? Because
I like Brunt more than I like Neelix.
I'll take Brunt over Neelix.
I think I agree. It's amazing.
And over Guinan as well.
Yeah, that's where I was wanting to start, was Guinan.
Back to the traditional Harry Kim.
I think
I like Harry Kim more. I'm just going to say it.
I think that I would, to be completely honest, I'd probably rather watch a show about Harry Kim than a show about Brunt. Like, if I'm going to have to stick with a character for a long amount of time. Like, Brunt is a character who was great in smaller doses.
Yeah,
making him more comparable to a Guinan.
Yeah.
I feel like he would start to grate if Brunt was on every episode.
Right, well, he's not that personable, not that you don't identify with Brunt.
Right.
Do you need to rate a character according to their actual use in the show, though? Because it's like, if you don't overexpose...
No, it's true.
Yeah.
But I think that's what, just that thought process is why I would have to rank Kim over Brunt.
All right. So then, underneath Kim is Malcolm Reed. I like Brunt more, honestly.
I'm surprised we put Reed under Kim, now that I'm thinking about it.
That was probably a decision that me and Sam agreed on.
All right, well, I think that I like Reed more than Brunt.
You like Reed more than Brunt?
I'm also surprised that we put Reed under Kim.
Okay, Reed is getting an asterisk for a revote at a later date.
All right.
I don't know. Reed is one of those characters who at first you're like, who's that? And then the more you think about him, you're like, oh, wait, he was cool.
The real problem... I think the real problem here is that Harry Kim might be too high, because underneath him is Malcolm Reed and Ash Tyler.
Yeah, but Harry Kim's better than Ash Tyler.
But at the same time, they're such interesting characters that I feel like you might have to put someone like Brunt above Guinan and below them.
No, put the Reed asterisk next to Reed. I think Kim's in the right place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, asterisk going next to Reed. So then Ash Tyler versus Brunt.
I gotta give it to Brunt.
Yeah, Brunt.
All right, Brunt wins.
Next on the list is...
What was his position again?
Liquidator. Liquidator Brunt. Next, we're going to rank a character from Enterprise, Commander Shran, the best Andorian.
Well, really the only.
Very true. Will, I guess you don't have much experience with Commander Shran, so this is going to fall just to me and Sam.
I have no clue.
Shran is the perfect best friend for Archer. Like,
it's true.
Besides Tucker.
And there are some great moments, like their knife fight.
Yes, the knife fight.
It's just one of the best moments in Enterprise.
Absolutely.
When Shran gets his antenna.
Archer did the research and found a way that in this most Starfleet of fashions. That said, the actual function of the way that knife fight was set up was really stupid.
Oh, yeah.
But so Shran, I'm going to say that we need to start his ranking right around Archer, actually. Is Shran a better character than Archer?
No.
No. But is Shran a better character than Ensign Harry Kim?
Yeah.
Yeah. I will agree, even though I don't know him.
All right. Let's pass the line right there. Because I actually agree. I think that while Shran doesn't work at all without Archer.
No.
But Harry Kim is... I mean, honestly, I'd rather have Shran on the show.
If they're best friends, they belong together.
I feel
on the
that
list.
Voyager could lose Harry Kim sooner than Enterprise could lose Shran and still be a good show.
I think so.
What's the position?
Commander.
Commander.
Commander Shran.
Shran.
S-H-R-A-N.
S-H-R-N?
A-N.
Okay.
An. S-H-R-An.
Yeah.
Shran.
Either way, it worked.
All right, so once again, I've been saving the DS9 character for last because they're going to be high, and that is going to be Weyoun, 1 through whatever we get to.
Weyoun.
Because when it comes down to it, I do think that we should count all the Weyouns as one
I agree.
character.
I agree.
What are you concerned about? You're making concerned eyes at the list.
Oh, no, not at all.
All right. But yeah, so Weyoun. Second best villain in DS9 after Gul Dukat.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, he's great.
Absolutely hilarious. Even when stuff is happening to him, like when Worf breaks his neck.
Oh my god. Yeah, because he's just made to talk, witty stuff. Sound calm and intellectual at all times.
Right. He has no power, and yet he's invincible because he's totally expendable. So he'll come in, and he's like the weakest, snobbiest little being in the room, and he does not give a shit about any
politician.
Right.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
Star Trek
I love
has
him.
given us.
The perfect evil diplomat.
Indeed.
So, and I think this is actually one of the first villains we're going to be ranking at all, isn't it?
Yeah, if you don't count Brunt.
Oh yeah, Brunt. Well, he's more of an antagonist rather than villain, but yeah, I guess you would count on that side.
Weyoun is so detestable that I feel like he ranks fairly high.
Shran's an anti-hero.
You're right.
Weyoun is going to rate highly.
Yes.
I think that we need to start the ranking at 11. Lieutenant Commander Tuvok. Is Weyoun better or worse than Tuvok? I don't know if I can rank him above Tuvok.
I can't in good conscience rank him above Tuvok.
Am I too high? Because next down is Captain Janeway.
Well, that's more debatable, I think. Just a little more.
I think I find Weyoun to be overall a more interesting character than Janeway.
Janeway? Even with the Omega thing?
The Omega thing is awesome.
Yeah,
the Borg thing is awesome.
Yeah.
Is great with the Borg and all the species that she runs into. She's a great character. But, she herself is so determined to get her fleet home.
She's a little one note.
That she's a little one note.
Yeah, I guess I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, most Weyoun scenes are just like a calm talk with a lot of tension, and that grips your attention.
Right.
They're enjoyable.
All right, so coming in at number 12 on the list, Weyoun.
Sorry, Janeway.
Sorry, Janeway. But you're right around the middle. So when we like a character, you're not going to rank great.
All right.
All right, so let's take one last break, and we'll be back with our comic reviews and the Transformer of the Week.
I love breaks.
And welcome back to the LAAGCast. So we're going to be talking about some of the comics that came out this week. But first, of course, is our Transformer of the Week. Sam, out of the glass cases this time, you selected an excellent character, Roadbuster of the Wreckers.
Roadbuster.
This dude is the arsenal of the Wreckers. He loves guns. He's got a lot of them. The toy came with 7 guns that all will combine into as many guns as you can combine them into, like Legos. Just all the pegs and everything. And just tons of fun and playability as far as the figure goes.
It's a giant rocket cannon.
Right, so tell me if I'm missing. I'm seeing rocket launchers. I'm seeing probably laser gun.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a grenade or rocket launcher. And 2 or 3 smaller laser guns. And what looks like some kind of pipe. Maybe a different kind of rocket launcher.
Yeah, that pipe is more of like a grenade launcher, and then you got yourself a giant like rocket launcher and a sniper rifle and laser gun, maybe a taser.
And he does turn into an armored APC where you can also put all of the guns on.
Oh, very nice.
Wow.
Not much to say about his personality other than that he's the kind of guy who loves the big guns and loves to use them.
Makes sense. There's always that guy.
In the IDW comic series, he does get addicted to a steroid like Energon fuel that increases his rage.
Well, that could get dangerous with all those weapons.
And it does.
He has an interesting color scheme.
Yeah. The green and brown with bright orange is an interesting choice for a military vehicle.
Indeed.
Roadbuster. I've had this figure for a while. It's pretty cool.
Well, I like our Transformer of the Week because I like guns.
Indeed. So there's a little bit of comic book news. Just one item of note, just because of how weird it is.
All right.
Which is that DC has announced that they're going to be crossing over 2 of the universes they currently have the control over. Masters of the Universe is going to be interacting somehow with the characters from the Injustice game and comic franchise.
Yeah, I believe that He-Man's actually going to be working with the Justice League.
Which Justice League?
I don't know which Justice League.
Because, in Injustice, it's Superman's Justice League, but they're the villains, and then Batman and the Rebellion.
Okay, so he is working with a good Justice League that is trying to take down a evil Superman who is reigning over the Earth with his powerful fist, or universe, probably, more so.
I have only read the first 2 volumes of the Injustice comic lead-in, and only played the first game, so...
I know nothing about Injustice.
Yeah, who knows where the plot has actually gone. It's bonkers. The comic is way better than it has any right to be, but it does start out with Joker tricking Superman into murdering Lois Lane.
Oof.
And by doing so also triggering an atomic bomb that blows up Metropolis, which leads to Superman going down and murdering the hell out of Joker as revenge, but and then starting to instill a fascist dictatorship, to end all crime. But Batman is not cool with any of these moves.
No, it sounds like the Joker wins in this one if he truly knows himself.
Indeed. In the first Injustice game, I believe the plot is that the regular DC universe is crossing over with the Injustice universe, which is why Joker is playable in that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Freddie Williams, I think, is doing the art on this. I don't know if it's Tom Taylor doing the writing or the guy who has been doing the Injustice comics more recently. But if it's Taylor, I gotta say, like I said, conceptually, those comics should be garbage. Being video game tie-ins and having to build to that stupid plot, he makes them so readable.
But they got He-Man.
Right, He-Man versus Superman. I mean,
I
if
love
it leads to that, that's awesome.
The idea that He-Man is strong enough to fight Superman is a little suspect, but we'll accept it for the sake of a crossover.
And who can say how strong He-Man is, really?
And I mean, does Superman still have his Yellow Lantern ring at this part of the plot? Because that's part of Injustice, is that Superman joins the Sinestro Corps.
Wow.
Oh yeah, no, it's all over the place. And so Hal does too, because he's loyal to Superman. It's so crazy. There's this one sequence that's been going around online on Twitter and stuff lately, where Flash and Superman are on the Justice League Watchtower satellite and are playing a game of chess, while Superman says, "Well, what if we took away all the guns?" And then Flash is like, "Well, here's what happened if you try to take away all the guns." And Superman comes up with all these things that are really horrible fascist ideas, and Flash keeps saying, well, this is why the people wouldn't let you do that. This is why you can't do that. Checkmate. And a lot of people are passing that around. It's like, oh, I'm so mad. Why would they have Superman be suggesting taking away all the guns? And I'm thinking, he's the villain in this comic.
Yeah.
They're giving him this viewpoint and then having Flash, who's on his side, tell him, no, that's stupid. To me, that's the author saying the opposite of everything Superman's saying should happen.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's it.
Well,
yeah.
All right. So how about we get into this nice little pile of comics we got here?
Let's do it. So I'm going to start with the only thing that only I read.
All right.
Which was issue 2 of Cave Carson Has an Interstellar Eye. The best thing about this comic was the cover, which is a fun cutout where you can make like a pyramid thing. Right. By folding it all, cutting it out and folding it all lines and gluing it together. I'm not going to do that because I'm not insane. But I like that. It's sort of a callback to, like, there was a Grant Morrison Invisibles where there's a thing where you needed to do something to the cover.
Nice. Just be really careful to make sure that you only get that portion.
The plot is weird, though. They're on this... If you'll remember at the end of the last issue, the alien named Star was turning into a star, and then he went supernova and exploded, and they had to hop into an alternate universe thing in order to escape.
Yeah, totally.
Seems like they've ended up on some weird planet in the future where a team of laser monks are fighting a group of weird demons.
I like laser monks.
The laser monks whose sole purpose in life is to sacrifice themselves for the greater good, which you see when the team is under attack from like a weird flying thing, and one of the laser monks runs out and says, "I cannot follow you. My destiny calls to me. My sacrifice will aid your escape." It is their oldest tradition. And then he's like horribly getting just devoured by the bird.
That's brutal.
The villains are kind of interesting. They're like these weird demon things that are super chaotic. And the leader of them is constantly getting murdered by whoever the second in command is. And then the second in command takes over. And it's like, now I will lead us to victory. It happens 3 times in this comic, I think, where the guy who's leading them gets shot in the back or in like the throat by their next in command, and who then takes control.
Yeah, that's just great.
It's weird. It's random. It's kind of a hard plot to describe. I'm probably going to still keep picking it up, but it's on thin ice for me. We'll see where it goes. Speaking of stuff that's on thin ice, Weapon H number 2.
Yeah.
A slight improvement over issue 1.
A slight improvement. It was more like the first half of issue 1 with less of the second half of issue 1.
It was definitely more focused. It didn't do any weird jumping around to different areas, or it didn't have the end at the end of page 12 tricking you into thinking that the story was over before continuing.
I do like the Wendigo because it does appear to just be growing as the comic has progressed, constantly getting bigger, which is really cool.
Yeah, it does absorb some of Weapon H's blood, or drinks his blood, or absorbs some power or something, and gets to be pretty giant.
Yeah.
Weapon H as a character is interesting because he goes hulked out, but he does seem to fully maintain his senses, and he can choose whether to hulk out or not at any time.
Which confuses me because he was trying so hard to like keep his mind clear in the first issue that I'm like, this guy has to have hulking problems, and now it seems like he has total control.
Yeah, it is weird and inconsistent because maybe he is able to go crazy, but he keeps it in control most of the time.
No.
Doctor Strange is the co-star of this issue.
He's mostly useless, though.
He's mostly useless. Now, in the recent Doctor Strange solo series, this plot has been happening where some weird technology-based aliens from another dimension are trying to wipe out all magic in every reality, and they succeeded knocking out like 90% of the magic in the regular Marvel reality. Mm-hmm. So Doctor Strange is kind of more reliant on like enchanted axes and bows and weird things that he wouldn't normally need to if all of his magic was available to him. Okay. That Doctor Strange comic is garbage. It's Jason Aaron exactly doing the plot of his very good Thor run, but doing it with Doctor Strange.
What the hell?
In his Thor run, it's about Gore the God Butcher, this alien who becomes so disenfranchised with the idea of gods that he finds an ultimate weapon and starts going around killing all the gods. And Thor is the god who's able to stop him. In Doctor Strange, this alien guy develops a super hatred for magic and finds a technology thing that allows him to able to destroy magic in entire realities, and he goes on a rampage against magic in realities until he gets to Doctor Strange, who stops him.
Hey, he knows what he likes.
Weapon H, should we get issue 3, Will? What do you think?
You know, overall, I feel like they're improving, and it could go in a good direction, because this kind of felt like the ending of a short story, the first 2 issues, and then they give us this preview at the end of the next story, and you know,
The Rocks on Skyway left hand.
I'm a little more intrigued.
Yeah, it's interesting because I didn't even notice this until just now looking at this page.
Yeah,
but there's a couple of Brood going alongside the Roxxon Skyway left.
You're right.
So I'm very interested to see how Roxxon is using Brood Warriors as like grunts.
Yeah,
it's very strange.
So yeah, I think it's worth continuing because I think it could go somewhere.
So I wonder if this guy who's talking, because he's got is he supposed to be some kind of brood thing? Weird. Okay, we're getting issue 3, I guess.
We're getting issue 3.
Oh, and look, the preview for issue 3.
Oh yeah.
Weapon WTH. Looks like he's being infected by a brood. So looks like we're going that. Oh, okay, all right. Maybe get issue 3. Sounds good, guys. Marvel. All right.
He's going to become a villain.
Who's this? Greg Pak? Yeah, Greg Pak. Real hit or miss. He can do some amazing things like Planet Hulk. He can do some bad things like the current John Wick comic. But all right, Sam, Venomized 3.
See, I thought this one was real good.
It was definitely another issue of Venomized.
Yes, along the same vein as the other 2 issues.
It's definitely going for big action, adventure, plotline type stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of not too much differential from the last, other than that we get to see Cletus with his forced symbiote on him.
Right at the end there.
That sounded like you read the same comic, almost. You're saying that the comics are very similar, just that they follow the same general theme?
It forwards the plot slightly.
But it's the whole thing is going on, and each one is like a little piece of what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah, Spider-Man and Venom are continuing to argue about the ethics of killing symbiotes in order to... Because weirdly, Spider-Man is just super down to kill symbiotes now. Like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But...
Hey, Spider-Man and the Flash are characters that you can mold to be whatever you want.
No, you're crazy. Neither of those characters is like that.
I know, but the authors do.
Well, yeah, that's just an author problem. That's not anything inherent to a character. Those authors will do that to anybody.
Yeah.
Kid Kaiju does show up, and he does exactly what I imagined his power would be when they said his name was Kid Kaiju.
Right.
It looks like he is able to conjure crazy monsters that talk like 14-year-olds.
He makes kaiju.
He makes kaiju, like this robot thing named Aegis, who says, "Your boy Aegis has totally got this. Don't worry about it, little dude." Highlights of this issue, though: Devil Dinosaur gets a Venom symbiote.
Yes, it does. That is cool.
I'm wondering if that's a callback to Old Man Logan, the comic series, wherein in the future we find out that the Venom symbiote is currently on a T-Rex.
Awesome.
And we see that anti-venom is probably going to be the key to everything, because as soon as he touches any of the poisons, they just disintegrate into a puddle of goo.
Right. He did that to, what was it, Thor?
I think... Oh, he did it to the Punisher.
He did it to Punisher,
to Poison Punisher. And then our last page, of course, is that showing that they have successfully infected Cletus Cassidy with the poison. I'm wondering if they'll do some sort of weird out in order to justify Cletus surviving this, because normally becoming a poison totally disintegrates the human or being that's inside
as
the
we
symbiote.
saw with Thor, who could no longer carry the hammer after being infected.
Right, and Thor was the other weird exception because Jane Foster was able to pop out of her poison form.
Oh, right, that did happen.
Yeah.
Which was also weird.
Asgardian magic, whatever, right?
Right.
But Poison Carnage looks like a real threat. Both of his arms are just big sickles.
Just big sickles, and he's totally weird with the backwards long legs, like he's some kind of infected spider creature.
Carnage actually has been doing his legs like that since the last Carnage solo series, when he started to get influenced by the Necronomicon. They call it the Book of Chthon, but it's the Necronomicon.
Awesome.
Yeah. It was 20 issues of Carnage trying to get to a haunted island with the Necronomicon and Agent Eddie Brock, along with a team of mercenaries, along with John Jameson, J. Jonah Jameson's son, a.k.a. Werewolf by Night, have to hunt down Carnage. It was a really weird series written by classic Spider-Man author Jerry Conway, and that was pretty entertaining.
Well, I'm totally down with Carnage just becoming more and more of a terrible monster creature as time goes on.
I actually think that after you're done reading the Moon Knight back issues that you have, I should start feeding you all the various Carnage solo series that I have that I'll lead up to stuff here.
That sounds like a good idea.
Most of them are at least pretty entertaining, and almost all of them are illustrated by Clayton Crane, who does this amazing sort of like, everything looks painted. And the way he does symbiotes, and he just makes them look real slimy, and it's perfect. He's great when he does symbiotes.
Nice.
Will, you read Mr. Miracle number 8 along with me.
Indeed.
I got to be honest with you. This issue felt... I liked it, but it felt like more of the same in a way that I didn't appreciate.
My complaint is similar. I feel like it's more that it's all build up with no satisfaction, and it's getting just a little bit long because they're just continuing to build up in the same ways, just another angle.
Right, escalation. Now, in the dialogue, there was a lot as far as the clues that none of this is actually happening, because several times they have Scott talking to somebody and him saying, I can break out any time. And it's referring to whatever they're talking to. But it's also probably referring to his battle with the lump. That is all 12 of these issues.
Yeah.
And it's this weird intercutting where Scott and Barda are taking places, either taking care of the newborn baby or leading the war on Apocalypse.
Yep.
They're just switching off days. And usually, it's all from Scott's point of view. We hardly ever see Barda. But they're constantly on the phone via Mother Box, and even while Scott's out there fighting, we have Barda at home giving him updates. This comic taught me a new word.
What was that word?
I read a lot, you guys. It's very seldom that I come across an English word that I have never encountered before. The word is Zerbert. Zerbert is the actual name for giving somebody a raspberry.
Whoa. So
I thought he made up this word, and I looked it up.
I knew what they were talking about.
Right.
And, wow, that's amazing.
I tweeted Tom King about it. He hasn't gotten back to me yet. But,
wow.
But yeah, that never happens to me, you guys. In my early 30s, reading as much as I do.
Most of the new words that I run across are just longer terms for like a specific scientific profession. It's like, when you really specialize in this, you're at that.
Right, that's true. Couple of choice lines in here, though, like when Funky Flashman purchases a little Batman doll for young Jacob. A little bit of a digression here. Funky Flashman was created as Stan Lee of Jack Kirby making fun of Stan Lee.
Oh, really?
Like, because Jack Kirby had left Marvel by this point, he was doing New Gods of DC, and he created this character who's like this big, flashy con man, Funky Flashman. And I think it's very interesting that Scott's son is named Jack, and that Funky Flashman is saying a lot of stuff about Jumpin' Jack, and we gotta do this for Jack. And I can't help but read that as, a weird play on, like, Stan coming after Jack Kirby. But getting back to the great line, Scott gets upset because of sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS. Infants can suffocate on things in the crib. And Funky goes, What are you talking about? It's Batman. Batman doesn't kill babies. And Scott goes, yes, absolutely. They have studies. Batman kills babies.
Yeah, no, that was funny.
He has a duel with Kanto the Assassin and loses. I wasn't expecting him to lose the duel.
I was
Kanto
also
the
not
Assassin.
expecting him to lose.
So that was weird. There's a cool reference to Superman Red and Blue on these pages, which is excellent because Scott throughout has been wearing shirts with other hero logos on them, like he's got Nightwing on in this scene. But he's wearing the Superman Blue logo, Electric Blue Superman, but they have a little fun with it because during one of the glitch out panels, it switches to red.
Nice.
So, overall, there's a lot of cool little details about this, but it was so much more of the same that it can't be my favorite issue.
But this issue didn't have a Dark Side Is, did it? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I did have a Dark Side Is when he was really getting tired
Yeah.
out on the battlefield. So, 4 more issues to go. I was really expecting some sort of twist on the last page, some little turn of the screw, but it doesn't seem like anything happened other than us getting a screen glitch right when Scott's reaching for his baby.
It kind of seems like he's living quite the reasonable life inside of his dream.
Yeah, and it's all going to get torn away. We just know it. So next, let's talk about Batman issue 45.
Yes.
I did skip at least one issue of Batman with you after the Poison Ivy arc because it was just a really boring issue about the wedding.
That's fair.
The wedding.
Batman 45, I think, is my favorite issue of Tom King's Batman run.
Oh, it was a great issue. It was really interesting and it was very engaging.
It's weird. You don't know what's going on at first because it starts with Hal Jordan with a creepy grin on his face. Giving a monologue about how normally a Green Lantern ring won't let you hurt yourself, but he's figured out a way to do it, and then he punches himself in the head until it looks like he dies, or at least knocks himself out.
I think he just knocked himself out.
And Booster Gold appears to be watching with sort of a nonplussed view, and much of the comic really sets it up like Booster Gold is doing something evil and affecting the world around him.
Oh, yeah.
We flash in on Tim Drake, who's working in some sort of weird office job, very mundane. Although later he's also on a TV commercial where he's selling Joker-proof tires. Because apparently in this version of Gotham City, Joker is just a sickness that you can catch. And so anybody could be a Joker. Batman shows up wielding a shitload of guns and grenades and stuff and shooting Booster Gold.
I see this Batman. Holy shit.
They do mention, though, that Skeets, Booster Gold's little robot companion, says, oh, that's Dick Grayson, though. So, again, another hint that something real weird is going on here. We find nothing is really revealed. We just get all this really strange alternate reality. Duke Thomas is lobotomized and being fed by somebody. That's definitely going to come back. We do flash in on Bruce Wayne, who just seems to be dancing with his mother, a ball.
Oh,
and
that happen.
One page of Talia al Ghul dueling Ra's and monologuing about how she'll never have a child, just to let us know Damien doesn't exist in this reality. And then we get to a 9-panel grid, Booster Gold explaining that he tried to give Batman a wedding gift. Which was based on the old Alan Moore story where Superman gets a flower that gives him a vision of a perfect life on Krypton. And then at the end, though, he has to tear himself away. And Booster wanted to give him a good version of that gift, so he went back in time and saved Bruce's parents. So that Bruce could see what reality was like if Batman never existed and how awful it would be. And then he would go back and not kill his parents, but not save them. And that would result in Batman being created, but then Batman would retain the memories of the other reality and be like, oh, okay, it's good, I can have some peace because I'm Batman, Booster thinks, because he's an idiot. So Bruce Wayne breaks Skeets with a cane, and it's like, I'm not letting you kill my parents. And that's the end of that issue. So great issue, and I cannot wait to see where Tom King goes with this.
I know. How did they manage to save this?
Yeah, it was very entertaining. I love that sort of weird alternate universe thing.
Now we're gonna have to deal with Bruce Wayne that has parents, and oh man.
Well, he won't be good at anything. Next, we want to talk about Superman 45 by Patrick Gleason and Peter Tomasi. I don't know if this is the last issue of their run, but it really feels like it.
What a nice issue.
What a nice issue. It's just the Kents saying goodbye to their home in, what's the city called?
Smallville?
No. They haven't been living in Smallville. Hamilton.
Yeah.
Hamilton. The small city of Hamilton. I don't know if it's in Kansas also, but that's where they've been living. Because when Superman came back to this reality and replaced New 52 Superman, he wasn't living in Smallville or Metropolis. He was living in Hamilton because that's where he was hiding out, knowing that he didn't want to come out and mess with New 52 continuity is garbage. Just forget I said anything. Yeah, it's great. Superman teaches some life lessons, like change is good, but change isn't always good.
Yeah, indeed.
Nice. Lois gets teary cleaning up the house and steals the mailbox, even though everybody's pretty sure that's illegal.
Yeah.
The movers show up, and it's funny because this and one of the stories in the other Superman comic that came out this week are all about how Superman's not allowed to go be Superman because something special's happening.
That's true.
So they're moving, and the Justice League happens to be fighting some sort of threat pretty close by, actually, but Superman's not allowed to go help, and Justice League keeps saying, no, it's cool, we got this, don't worry. But Flash shows up to move all their stuff to Metropolis, where they're going to be living now.
What a nice guy.
He grabs a box and he asks Lois in the kitchen, and then he comes back. Bathroom, and he runs back and comes back. And Flash, man, that's the friend you want. It's better than having a friend with a pickup truck.
How does he navigate those streets?
They go to one last Hamilton County Fair all together, where we check in with Rob Zorro and Boy Zorro.
I know.
Who are working at a fried food stand at the fair.
Yeah, they're such great characters. They fit right in.
Yeah, it's great. Rob Zorro is still... Rob Zorro is essentially Gomez from the Addams Family. He's got the same facial hair, and he's like a super romantic. And whereas Boy Zorro is just frying stuff by taking a handful of whatever and just jamming his whole hand right into the frying oil. It's disgusting, but Clark is nice. He says, I'll take those. And the mayor of the town gives a little speech, and because it's like the town knows that Superman's leaving, and they unveil a statue, and it turns out that it's a statue of Superman and Superboy together, which it's pretty cool for Superboy.
Yeah, really.
But it turns out that Flash has to immediately call in the favor that Clark owes him for moving all their stuff because that monster they were fighting. Turns out they can't handle it. So, Superman and Superboy pull their shirts apart, revealing the S-shields, and they're going to take off. Up and away. Yeah. It's really nice. I really liked this whole run of Superman. And,
yes, I did too. It was good.
Just excellent. And we get a little epilogue where Lois finally gets back to the house in Metropolis because she had to drive, I guess. And Clark and John are asleep on the couch. They got a pizza. And she drops off the illegally stolen Kent's mailbox on Jonathan's desk. And that's it. And now Bendis is coming. And Bendis is here because we got Action Comics issue 1000.
This is Bendis?
The last story in this is the first Bendis story, and it's leading into his 6-issue Man of Steel series, which is why it's the only story that
is like a new plot.
Right, exactly.
Interesting.
I had both of you read this. Did you guys both read every story?
I read every story. Although there was one that I kind of glazed.
I agree. We'll see if it's the same one. So let's just go one by one. So first was the From the City Who Has Everything, written and drawn by Dan Jurgens. Who is one of the classic Superman writers. I believe he was the guy who wrote Death of Superman and all of the Return of Superman stuff.
All right. Cool.
And this was kind of like another version of the issue of Superman that came out.
It's exactly the same thing. They're all just saying nice things about Superman and how he saved them and helped them and improved their lives.
Except this one is taking place in Metropolis, and it's the city of Metropolis is honoring him. And so we have some speakers. We have Maggie Sawyer, the police captain, says some nice stuff about Superman. You remember her from the animated series. She's the blonde, short-haired lady.
Oh, yeah.
And a criminal comes up and speaks and talks about how Superman busted him many times but never gave up on him, and now he's doing good for the community.
Yeah, doing good.
Helped him get a job.
He was working for the Skull. And but then once again, some bad Justice League thing appears to be happening. So Clark has to break his promise not to do anything today because he, for some reason, doesn't seem to want to appear as Superman at the ceremony. And he's about to take off, but as he does, Wonder Woman flies in and is like, "Chill, we got this." And then everybody shows up. Yeah. The entire DC universe on stage.
It turns out Martian Manhunter's been psychically blocking Superman from being able to use his power to scout out evil.
Right. Keep him there. Everything's cool. Because Lois has been on the phone with Perry, but Perry appears to have been Batman all along.
Yeah, because Perry got up on stage,
right?
The real one.
Because Batman's like, I don't give a shit about any of your ceremonies, Superman. You need to handle this.
Yep. It's so Batman.
But then DC Universe shows up, including Deathstroke and Harley Quinn.
Everyone.
That's what, look, they put in Sideways.
Oh wow.
The whole gang's here.
Yeah, it's very nice. I like that Steel is here. Blue Beetle is cool. Wally West Flash is there along with Barry Allen. I always like seeing Wally. It's just another very sweet story.
Indeed.
The best story, in my opinion, in this was the Tomasi Gleason story.
Right.
Which was all splash pages, all full-page splashes.
Yeah, that was the best one.
It was all about the art.
Yeah,
it was all about the art.
It was all about the art because Gleason is so able to make his style seem different on the different pages. He's aping the styles of various Superman artists over time, and he hits every era. We get initial showing up of Superman where he had like the weird gold shield logo. And he couldn't fly yet. And so, it was a more rough and tumble time. He's just knocking out thugs and mobsters. And we get this great page of him stopping a train and kind of looking doughy. Like, this is almost a Frank Quietly type Superman to
really
me.
Doughy.
We get him fighting in World War II. Even though that, didn't have any continuity. He's on some planet with some sort of weird, like, pygmy guys doing a Gulliver's Travels. And then somehow merging into the wall or something while underground fighting some mole people.
Yeah.
Saving Lois from a dragon.
Yeah.
Vandal Savage sends some other Supermans from other realities to try to kill him, and they're drawn very differently. This looks like the Fleischer animated Superman from the really old animated things.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Super Friends version.
Oh, yeah, totally.
We get him being struck by lightning, which is very reminiscent of the Frank Miller appearances of Superman, like in Dark Knight Returns, where he looks all emaciated and skinny and disgusting.
Oh,
Fighting some sort of weird Lady Death, I guess. This one I didn't recognize as a reference to something specific. But I did appreciate these 2 pages really showing the struggle.
yeah,
That's true.
Because, it's Superman. The problem is
no struggle.
you got to have him struggle or it's not an interesting story.
That's true.
We get a little page that's from the Death and Return where he's in the black Kryptonian restoration suit, and we get classic Superboy in steel. This looks like... I was going to say this was a movie thing, but based on those costumes for Zod and Lita, I don't remember what Zod's girlfriend's name is. That looks like an animated series reference to me. I'm pretty sure when Zod showed up in the animated series, that's what he was wearing.
Perhaps.
Yeah. A Kingdom Come reference with old gray-haired Superman fighting, I used to know this guy's name, Magog. Who's one of the hardcore bad superheroes. And then Superman pops out of reality, and there's New 52 Superman, Black Suit Return Modern Superman, just before Modern Superman, and current Superman, but without trunks, coming out to punch Vandal Savage right in the face.
Yeah.
And, it's his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I really liked that one. But
Yeah, that one's great.
Yeah, came together in the end.
all the great things about Superman. And if I'm going through these things too fast, you guys stop me and call things out.
Go for it.
Got a good pinup by John Romita Jr., who normally I don't love his Superman, but this one kind of works.
Hey, he's going totally DBZ on us.
Yeah.
Enemy Within, which is like a weird combo story with modern writing, but I think they've merged in a page from an old issue. This one was my whatever story.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. There was also way too much text.
A lot of text.
Lots.
Superman isn't really in it.
No, in fact, he's kind of like mentally fighting that one.
The reason for this story was because they wanted to get some art by Kurt Swan, and because he was such an influential Superman artist back in the day. And so the last page is a reproduction from an old Kurt Swan illustration.
Okay.
The Car by Jeff Johns and Richard Donner, who directed the Superman, the movies with Christopher Reeves, at least the first 1.5, is really interesting because it doesn't tell you directly in the story, but this story is about the continuation of the cover of Action Comics issue 1. You know, the cover of Superman's first appearance where he's holding the car up and looks like he's about to crush a guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is the story about the guy. And this is another story like the guy who speaks in the first story in this.
The criminal.
Right, exactly, because it's all about how this is actually showing Superman doing the sticking with a guy and trying to talk to him and trying to figure out why he's the way he is.
Yeah.
It gets a little cringy with like, I know your life must have been so hard, and your mother, when your mother passed, you were only 13, and like just the way it was delivered was a little to me.
Yeah.
But Jeff Johns that's how he writes. It's very superlative. Like, it's the kind of thing that kind of would work better in a movie.
Yeah.
You know? So that's an alright story, and it ends with the dude deciding to hang out with some kids in his neighborhood, so that's cool. The next story I really enjoyed. This monologue, or conversation, I should say, between Superman and Lex Luthor at the Smallville Planetarium.
I thought it was kind of weird.
It's weird, because in modern continuity, Clark and Lex weren't friends during childhood. So this is definitely a callback to a more Silver Age origin where they knew each other in Smallville, before either got
I had
older.
a feeling from this that in this continuity it felt like they knew each other, but I didn't know that was actually a continuity.
Yeah, that's how it was for like in the Superboy comics from the Silver Age, because Lex was like his buddy, but also kind of a jerk in those comics. And
Okay.
in regular continuity, it has been like that, but they waffle on and off. And I believe in current continuity that isn't the case.
Okay. Gotcha.
But this comic was definitely playing like it was the case. This was Scott Snyder, writer of Dark Knight's Metal.
Yeah.
So you could tell it was kind of like his style of like going a little over the top with some things. Like, here's a little twist about a thing that happened before. And then the dialogue at the end is kind of a little clever. like maybe a little too clever, you know? Because at the beginning of the issue, it starts out with Superman showing up and saying, Lex, you got these two horrible things that together you could cause some really bad destruction with.
The time string scissors and something else.
Right, the eye of something. The eye of Zotar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Lex is like, oh, no, don't worry, I'm just here to look at the stars. And at the end, after their conversation, he's like, I got the eye and the scissors to kill you. And Superman's like, I know you did, Lex, but maybe. Next was my second favorite story in this collection. This is by Tom King and Clay Mann. Tom King, who's writing the Batman and the Vision. Yes. I'm sorry, and Mr. Miracle.
Yeah, nice.
This one was really high concept.
Yeah.
It's millions of years in the future.
Yep.
And Earth is going to be destroyed because Earth's sun is going supernova or experiencing heat death.
It seems like the sun is overtaking.
Right, it's doing the big expansion before.
Right. So everything's already off Earth. All the plants have died because the sun has already been supernovaing, and it's finally going to envelop the Earth.
Right,
that's what's going on.
Earth is about to go to pieces, literally.
Yeah.
And it's just Superman showing up back at Earth to have one last conversation with the grave of his parents.
Yep. Honor his parents for one last time, saying that this is the very last time this is ever going to happen.
The very last time.
Which means how many times has he gone back?
Every year.
Every year. Millions of years, man. And it does give us a nice little... no, don't worry. He's still cool because Lois is still alive and John's still around.
Yeah, but still, it's the most... man, it just gets you.
It gets you right in the feels, as they say.
Yeah, it pulls those heartstrings.
Next was the story by Louise Simonson and Jerry Ordway, which was the other one I was kind of meh on. Normally I like Louise Simonson, but this one was kind of meh. It was a nice little clever story. It seemed like an episode of the animated series. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like, Clark's got to write a story, but Superman's got to go stop some crooks, but he still writes the story on time.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It was the most, throwaway. That said, it was probably the most, traditional adventure of Superman in the issue.
That's true.
Right.
So I can see why it was included totally. It's not, doing it a disservice. Next, the Paul Dini and Jose Luis Garcia Lopez story. Paul Dini, of course, the main creative mind behind the animated series.
Right.
And Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, basically the classic designer and drawer of DC heroes. Like, this dude knows how to do those characters the way that they were always drawn back in the day. Cool. Which is why I'm really disappointed that he drew Darkseid in his New 52 costume, because it looks really stupid.
Why is Bizarro number one?
That's how Bizarro always looks.
He's not Bizarro not number one?
Well, I don't think he made that sign.
Okay.
But that's a very interesting point about Bizarro, because he has usually worn that sign throughout his history. And yeah, you may have discovered a plot hole in Bizarro. But this is just a fun little story about Mr. Mxyzptlk deciding...
Yeah, this was kind of weird.
Yeah, making up a fantasy reality where he was Superman's ultimate foe and managed to destroy him, but then created a theme park talking about all the adventures of Superman because he's a huge Superman fan.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty entertaining.
It's a kind of a little bit of a callback to Alan Moore's other Superman classic, besides the Mongol Flower one, which is Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, which was written to be the final adventure of Golden Age Superman, and he actually does die at the end. Kind of. But yeah, this one was fine. Mxyzptlk is a fun name to say.
Yeah. How do you say it?
Mxyzptlk.
Yeah, okay.
We get a nice little Walter Simonson Superman drawing, which I love, because Walter Simonson is the only guy who can approach Jack Kirby for blocky figures, in my opinion.
It's probably my favorite of the splash page Supermans we get in this one.
I think I might have to agree with that. We get a okay one by Brad Meltzer, drawn by John Cassidy, artist of Planetary. Which, I don't know, it's something about the inking makes the art look too smooth.
And also just the story overall, it's kind of cliche.
It's a little bit of oh, hey, lady, you're cool, you should join the cops.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but him catching the bullet is a great moment, in spite of the problems with the artwork.
Yeah, his whole doing the calculations of whether or not he'll be able to make it to there in time to stop the bullet that he knows is being fired is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, Bendis is here.
So yeah, this is major. They're bringing about an answer to a question I've never asked,
which is
why did Krypton explode?
Right, exactly. I want to start by saying that this is a very Brian Michael Bendis comic, because even though it's about a fight between Superman and this monster new villain character, almost all the dialogue is these two coffee shop waitresses talking to each other about how OMG so random this is, and can you believe he's wearing the shorts again? Yeah, he's gotta wear the shorts.
Wearing the shorts.
Like, we're definitely about to die, but we're gonna talk about this stuff. Like that's Brian Michael Bendis comics to a T right there.
Okay.
But yeah, apparently this guy shows up and says that I knew Jor-El, I killed Krypton, and I'm here to kill the rest of the Kryptonians.
I like this guy's look, though.
He is a little bit over the top, isn't he?
So much.
Yeah.
He is a monster.
He's got a hair lip.
Hair lip, huge teeth, furry, just like all over the place.
Part of his face has been burned off, maybe in battle with Jor-El.
I mean, considering he's taking care of Superman, he's clearly pretty strong.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the issue, he's driving a sword into Superman's chest, and there's like blood coming out. So
yeah,
I'm wondering where it's going to go with this. And how weird is it going to be if issue 1 of Man of Steel just starts with this, and you only pick that issue up, and you're like, what the? Hopefully you bought the $8 Action 1000.
I'm sure there will be a recap.
I'm sure everybody bought this.
Yeah, no, he's more right.
Overall thoughts on Action 1000?
I thought it was enjoyable.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a good read.
And overall, lots of feels.
Yeah, there was not only the Tom King one, but even just in, I thought, the first story.
The first story, too, exactly. Just the lengths that they go to keep Superman from having to step up and do his job as Superman.
Right.
It's touching.
He deserved a break.
Yeah.
He deserved to be honored.
Everybody deserves a break once in a while.
But you're really right that this Action Comics 1000 and the Superman Weekly really went together 100%. And it was just like another one that belonged in the Action 1000.
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
Which is, I am glad that Tomasi and Gleason got a full issue to put a cap on it, as it were.
No, really, really enjoyable. When's the next big comic book event? When does Batman get 1,000?
Oh, yeah, no, good question. Well, Captain America 700 came out last week, but I heard it was mess, so I didn't pick it up.
Okay.
700, that's not 1,000.
That's not 1,000.
Well, Action Comics is the only one that's been coming out since the 30s, you guys.
No, that's absolutely fair.
The next one is Detective Comics.
Okay.
But that's going to be... And the big question is, will they actually do the anniversary at Detective Comics 1000, or do they wait until Detective Comics 1027, since Batman debuted in Detective Comics 27, and then it's 1,000 issues of Batman in Detective Comics?
Oh, that's a hard decision.
I tend to think that they'll just do it at 1,000, because that's way less confusing.
Right. It's just slap the title on there and say what they want, whatever they want.
And I want to say that there's at least one recognizable character in the original Detective Comics. Maybe it's the Phantom Stranger. Maybe it's Sam. I don't know who it is, but there's somebody who's like at least recognizable, so they can have it be mostly about Batman, but then do a couple other characters to kind of honor the real Action Comics #1.
Well, we better hope that they listen to this podcast for all the brilliant ideas.
I think that everybody should.
Everybody should listen to this podcast. Where can they listen to this podcast?
Yeah, well, currently we're on YouTube.
Yes, we're on YouTube at LAAG Entertainment, but you can just type LAAGCast into the search bar.
It'll come up.
It'll come up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Where else are we, Will?
We're also on Twitter at _LAAG. That's LAAG with 2 A's. You can email us on at lagentertainment@gmail.com if you have any comments. We're up on Libsyn right now if you want to go there, lagentertainment.libsyn.com, but hopefully we'll be hosted on some actual podcast services within the week, and then that link will not really matter anymore.
It's very likely, if you're listening to this, that this has already happened.
Yeah. And then we'll be on iTunes very shortly. And so make sure to check us out. Tell your friends, tell your parents. Everyone will like the show.
Thanks for listening, folks.
Good night, everybody.